What are the 10 most famous manifestos of all time? And which famous manifestos would you include in your list? A manifesto is a public statement of your intention. It's a description of the world as you see it or as you'd like to see it. But not all manifestos are created equal. Some are more inspiring, more influential, and more famous than others. In this video, I'll share my pick for the 10 most famous manifestos of all time. Number 10 lives in the corporate world. But manifesto is not a very popular term here. They usually talk about vision and mission statements instead. And if we had to pick a corporate manifesto example, it's fitting that I've chosen a TV commercial. But this is not your usual advertisement. There is no products on display, and the name of the company producing the ad only flickers at the end for about 1 or 2 seconds. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, this was the first ad campaign Apple produced. It was based on a series called Think Different, and this particular ad was called We Are the Crazy Ones. It's a double-sided manifesto. First, it defines what the company stands for, a call to arms, a mission for their staff and the quality standard they're aspiring to. And second, it's a call to arms for their customers. It's inspiration and permission to pursue your own genius, to be a little crazy, just like the famous people featured in the ad. It's a famous example filled with famous people. Some manifestos are inspired by fresh possibilities about how the world could be, and others by fixing things that have gone wrong. Number 9 on our list was triggered by some very dark days. During World War II, an estimated 50 million people died during battle, and a further 20 million died from illness and disease related to the war. As a result of the war, and in particular the atrocities by Nazi Germany, the United Nations developed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As a manifesto, you've probably never heard of it by name, but it is the basic document that frames human rights for everyone on the planet. And this social charter is the most translated document in the world. It's been translated into over 350 different languages. And it's the reference point against which all countries' actions in terms of human rights are measured and compared. Number 8 on our list of famous manifestos is one of the few examples of focusing on achieving a specific single goal. In 1961, newly elected US President John F. Kennedy announced to Congress the goal of sending a man to the moon, returning him safely to Earth by the end of the decade. It was a response to the impending recession in the US and the Cold War that was developing with Russia in the space race. As such, it wasn't just about the moon. It was about positioning America as a leading superpower on the planet through the decade. And when Neil Armstrong put his foot on the moon on the 20th of July 1969, it was not only a huge achievement for mankind, but it was also the fulfillment of a famous manifesto. While the corporate world has relatively few famous manifestos, the art world is full of them. Wikipedia lists over 65 art manifestos, and I've picked one of them to be number 7 on our most famous list. Art manifestos have a classic structure. They reject the past and they celebrate the future. In 1909, Italian poet Filippo Marinetti had his manifesto published in Italian and French newspapers. The Futurism Manifesto was a celebration of the new technology that was emerging, and in particular, the celebration of speed and movement generated by cars and buses and planes. What Marinetti wanted was a visual expression of this new and emerging fast-paced modern world. And the reason I chose the Futurism Manifesto over many of the other art ones was because it was able to spill over its influence into other areas of design, notably into architecture. Not many other art manifestos can make that claim. How many people can say their manifesto rewrote millions of years of history, changed the way every single person on the planet saw themselves, and started a whole new branch of science? Plus, it helped form a split between religion and science. Charles Darwin can. His book on the origin of species is number 6 on our list of famous manifestos. It's a science manifesto, and it redefines what it means to be a human being. Darwin proposes that the diversity of life on the planet comes from evolution, which effectively is saying that it comes from branches of the same tree. Being told you descended from apes rather than being a son or daughter of God has obviously generated a lot of discussion over the years. But it also goes to show that the right manifesto at the right time can change how we see ourselves and how we see the world. Number 5 on our list of famous manifestos shows the mixed reputation that manifestos have. Manifestos are tools for change, which meant they're deliberately used to upset the status quo. And in some cases, they are used to promote extreme views and sometimes with extreme action. On the website 1000manifestos.com, I've collected over 260 manifesto examples. Based on page views, the most popular manifesto on that site is by Ted Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber. Ted's manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future, is about the size of a small book, about 35,000 words in length. He wasn't the first or the only person to talk about the negative effects of industrial technology. And the infamy of his manifesto is not really based on what he said, but rather on what he did. Over 15 years, Kaczynski had mailed and hand-delivered a series of bombs that killed 3 people and injured 23 others. The Unabomber manifesto only became famous when he threatened newspapers that if you don't publish my manifesto, I'm going to keep delivering bombs. Manifestos are powerful ideas handled with care. Number 4, and our next example of a manifesto, is famous in a predictable way, but with a twist. Over the years, I've had hundreds of conversations with people about manifestos. And usually when I mention the word, the first thing that triggers for people is the Communist Manifesto. That makes it a really famous manifesto. It has name awareness. But most people, including me, have never read it. And even more people don't even know what it's about. To fill in the blanks, the Communist Manifesto was written by Karl Marx and Joseph Goebbels in 1848. It presents the core ideology of the political system known as socialism, and is recognised as one of the most influential political documents ever written. And through its adoption as the communist model for government by Russia and a number of Eastern European countries, it's impacted the lives of millions of people. It even formed the ideological background for the Cold War and took the world to the brink of a nuclear disaster. That's the extreme power of words. In the famous examples so far, we've seen books, social charters, rants from aggrieved individuals, corporate ads, and political ideologies. And in our next one, we have another expression of a manifesto in a speech. It was delivered on August 28, 1963, in front of over 250,000 people in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech provided a pivotal moment in the racial campaigns in the US, and it provided a brilliant vision of what the world and American life could look like. It has become a worldwide call for people to follow and pursue their own dreams. And I still get goosebumps every time I hear it. Number 2 on our list of famous manifestos is an incredibly rare one that, by writing it, the authors created a new country. At the time it was written in 1777, 13 colonies were run by King George III of England. But the locals weren't happy. They didn't like someone else telling them what to do, and they definitely didn't like the high taxes they were being charged. As a result, a group of 56 men got together and wrote a handwritten document called a Declaration of Independence. The document effectively said, "We are no longer under your rule, and we are now an independent nation." By signing their names to this document, these men were effectively committing treason, which was punishable by death. This is another great example of the power of a manifesto to create change. But it comes with a warning. Not everyone is going to like or agree with what you have to say. And perhaps the most powerful part of this declaration comes in the immortal words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." Your manifesto is your statement of what is true for you. And our number 1 most famous manifesto of all time is a religious example. While there are several comparable manifestos from different faiths, I've chosen this one because it is also the best-selling publication of all time. It's estimated to have sold over 5 billion copies. The Bible is a collection of scriptures in Christianity, Judaism, and some other religions. And there are quite a few versions of this dating back over several thousand years. And the archetype, or the classic form of manifesto, comes from a specific section on the Ten Commandments, which effectively maps out, if you want to be successful and live according to the Christian faith, these are the 10 things, the 10 rules to follow. If you want to create your manifesto, that's a simple and powerful model or framework to use. Well, there you have it. The 10 most famous manifestos of all time. So, over to you. What would you add or change to this list of famous manifestos? Add a comment below and let the conversation begin. And in our next video, I'll be sharing some more inspiring mission statements, this time from content creators, plus some tips and examples for how you can create your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!